The Women's and Gender Studies program at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro is continuing the legacy of the original women's college through captivating scholarship and a commitment to addressing the complexities of identity and community in today's world. The program embraces the rich history of UNCG as a women's college that pioneered teaching and leadership among its students.
The first state-supported institution for the higher education of women in North Carolina was established in February 1891. First called the State Normal and Industrial School, it is known today as the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. The school emphasized a strong academic curriculum, well-educated faculty, and dedicated students. From the beginning, the school was very successful, attracting young women from across North Carolina and eventually from across the entire country. By the 1949-50 school year, the school, then known as Women's College, was the largest college for women in the United States. Although men attended the school for 1 year in the 1930s, it did not become fully coeducational until 1963, when it became known as UNCG. The strength of the academic program was recognized in 1934 when a section of Phi Beta Kappa was established on campus. In addition to the academic program, campus organizations and athletics also helped prepare the students for the world they would help to lead in the 20th century. Among the organizations were literary societies, clubs, musical and theater groups, and campus publications. Beginning with the required walking period from the 1890s, the athletic program included most sports. The Athletic Association was organized in 1900, 15 years before the Student Government Association. Community and world awareness was also a large part of the students' education. Dating back to the era of Charles McKeever, the school's first president, campus leaders felt it was very important that students be exposed to different speakers, opinions, and ideas. Numerous visitors came to the campus representing politics, business, science, and the arts, bringing some of the outside world to the southern campus. Social activism was a strong component of the women's education. Students were particularly active in the drive for women's suffrage and the African American Civil Rights Movement. Later, after coeducation, students were active in the anti-war and women's liberation movements, as well as the effort to ratify the Equal Rights Amendment. The legacy of the early women students and faculty at UNCG is celebrated daily through the Women and Gender Studies program. With the support of students, faculty, the university administration, and the Alumni Association, the first course in Women's Studies was offered in the spring of 1973 under the auspices of the Department of History. The department had been expecting 50 students, but 110 registered. The first course was The Changing Roles of American Women. From this one course beginning, the program has grown considerably. Its first full-time director came in 1991. Scholarships were established by Sally and Alan Cohn, and the Linda Arnold Carlisle Distinguished Excellence Professorship was established by the UNCG Friends of Women and Gender Studies. The program now offers bachelor's and master's degrees.
From its inception, the program has encouraged a dedication to excellence among its students.
I've been associated with the program since 1980. I came to UNCG in 1978 and joined the Department of English, where I still teach, and I also, of course, still teach in Women's and Gender Studies. I was graduate director for a while before I became director, and in that context, I worked really hard with other faculty on getting our still relatively new master's program, but prior to that, we all worked very hard together on the BA in Women's Studies, the bachelor's degree in Women's Studies. Of course, when I came here, it was a program and there was a minor, and it had very strong and interesting leadership. We had developed the idea that Women's and Gender Studies really needed to be, and already was, in fact, really integrally connected to the community, to Greensboro, to the state, and that we saw our role as being part of the wider world. We don't see ourselves as town and gown or the ivory tower and out there. That's not how we are. We're all together like this. We can't be separated. There is no ivory tower for women's and gender studies. We invented a new kind of master's degree that didn't exist anywhere else in the United States. My mother's experiences at WC are probably one of the primary reasons that I got interested in women's and gender studies.
Today, the program offers a variety of opportunities for any student seeking a unique and inspiring education.
Women's and Gender Studies is an interdisciplinary academic program. It's also a center for research for both faculty and students, and an opportunity for co-curricular learning. We are concerned with individual lives, especially the lives of women, and with understanding the production of gender and sexuality within social institutions, and with studying how difference intersects gender, race, ethnicity, class, sexuality, how those things inform each other. We are very proud of our commitment to research and to scholarship. Women's and Gender Studies offers 21st century skills in critical reading, media literacy, and writing, critical thinking. Women's and Gender Studies is well integrated into the entire university. More than 30 faculty members are cross-appointed in Women's and Gender Studies, and more than 70 teach in our program, attend our co-curricular programming, or encourage their students to do so. In the last several years, WGS has been able to hire faculty who are tenured in Women's and Gender Studies. This allows for a great development in our programming, in the courses that we can offer, and of course in our ability to concentrate on our Women's and Gender Studies students. We have one faculty member who's on a tenure track line in Women's and Gender Studies, and another who splits her time between African American Studies and Women's and Gender Studies. So that's been a great change in WGS in recent years. The other thing that we've done during my tenure here is get our name out and develop cross-campus unity in academic conferences. And then we will host the Southeastern Women's Studies Conference here at UNCG in the spring of 2013. Interdisciplinarity is important and an asset to students who come here. I think we're a very close-knit community. Our co-curricular programming means that graduate students are often leading salons, say, that allow them to get conversations going about their own areas of academic research.
WGS students not only take pride in the education they are receiving, but also in the legacy of excellence that they are continuing.
I'm Meg Scott Phipps, and I'm a second-year student in the Women's and Gender Studies Master's Program. I was teaching. I've had 30 years in a legal career, and then was teaching at a community college, was teaching American Women's Studies. I decided from there, you know, I like this, so I think that I'm going to go get my master's in Women's Studies at UNCG. And you know, it really made sense for me to come to UNCG because my mother and my grandmother had come to UNCG and became teachers, school teachers. I came to so that I could teach at the college level. But what I have found in the year and a half is that this program has, as Adrienne Rich says, awakened me from the dead.
My name is Carrie, and I graduated with a Master's in Women's and Gender Studies in the spring of 2011. I'm currently working at Alumni University as a coordinator for violence prevention and response. So I advocate for survivors of sexual assault on campus. My career decision, I think that the program here really gave me sort of different frames to view the world through and different kinds of questions to ask. So to me it feels less important to have a career that reads as feminist than it is to be approaching whatever career I'm pursuing with feminist questions. And feminist gender studies also gave me sort of more of an interest in education broadly speaking, so I'm excited to carry that forward into my doctoral program in the fall.
Hi, my name
is Sarah Colonna. I graduated with my Master's in Women's and Gender Studies in the fall of 2008. I was the first cohort that went through. I am a PhD student at UNCG in the Educational Studies program. I'm also the current coordinator for LGBTQ advocacy and outreach for UNCG, as well as I teach an adjunct at Alumni Community College in the Humanities. WGS Women's and Gender Studies degree has really helped me with getting these three really different jobs but tying them all together and helping me to think in a broader way, to think in a more intersectional way, and to put things together that may not seem like they fit, but once you start thinking about them in a different way, it really makes connections in the world.
My name is Isabel Moore. I grew up here in Greensboro and left to go to my undergraduate in New York, and then moved back here in 2003, and I heard about the Women and Gender Studies Master's program from several people, and it seemed really awesome and right up my alley as someone who's interested in social justice. So I went here for my Master's in Women and Gender Studies. I graduated summer of 2009, and during my master's degree I got 18 credit hours in history, which then allowed me to teach at community college. So what I'm doing right now is teaching history classes at the local community college, Guilford Tech, and I also teach adjunct here at UNCG, Intro to Women and Gender Studies. And I would say that the program was a terrific experience. I learned a lot from all my classes. It helped me kind of reconnect with my interest in teaching and got me interested in doing that. It helped me to build, I've been involved in social justice work and activism for a long time, and I think being in the program helped me build more of an intersectional analysis, and I've been involved in racial justice work for a long time, and being part of the program helped me kind of bring in more of a feminist analysis and queer studies and looking at gender as a whole, not just focusing narrowly on women, but gender as a whole construct.